What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel, Create Art with Jazz. My name is Jasmine, and my mission here is to create, inspire, and motivate. So let's hop into another fun day of painting. Hi, welcome to day 5 of my hand lettering art idea challenge. Today I'll be using the Adobe Illustrator Draw App on my iPad, and I'm also using the Apple Pencil. So we're going to go right in with a thin line, and we're going to do a slanted cursive that is very girly, very feminine. So you want to keep that line weight very consistent, very precise. I'm doing this in real time, so this video has not been sped up. You want to make sure that you build your speed up so that your line weight can be consistent and even, and that your lines won't be shaky. So I notice that when I do my lines very quickly, my lines don't have any wiggle in them. They don't look shaky at all. So we're going to go in with that princess in black. Now I'm going back over the letters and just building onto them. I'm giving them a little more weight, not a lot, just a little bit. And we're going to go in and make that P very pretty and bold. And for this design, I really want the P to stand out. So I'm just going to add some dagger strokes in there inside of the P. I'm not going to fill it in all the way. So just take your time and do this. If it doesn't come out right the first time, you can go back and redo it. If you're doing this with traditional media, you can also just practice this over and over again until you get it right. It takes a lot of practice to get your penmanship to look very nice and consistent, but don't worry about it. You will get there if you keep trying. So for the crown, I wanted to do something very unique and different. So I decided to make these figure 8 symbols inside of the crown instead of making just an ordinary crown that we've seen before. When you're designing, make sure you reach out there and do things that you've never done before. Experiment with line weight, experiment with design. Try something that you haven't seen before so that you can stand out as a unique designer. For this design, you can actually use it for t-shirts. You can use it for logos. You can use it to put on a cake. Pay attention to how I'm doing these designs and know that you can make them transfer to other things. So this can be made into a decal or a sticker or something that you can hang on your wall. If you're doing this with traditional pen and paper, you can still follow the same process. You can even use an airbrush or markers. Just make sure that you're moving very quickly so that you can get those nice points on the ends of your designs. And I'm just going in. If you look at the design around the princess, it's almost like a sideways S. So keep your wrists very loose. When you're doing this, you want to not have any tension in your wrist. So just loosen up with your wrist and just let that design flow out. So I'm just using my color picker to choose a pink color. I want to have it a medium light pink, nothing too dark. And I'm putting that pink color in the background. I really like the way that the black letters stand off of the pink. It gives it a nice contrast. Whenever you're designing, keep the basic design principles in mind no matter what you're doing. Make sure you keep in mind to have contrast in your design so that your background can stand out from the foreground. Even if you're doing a 2D piece, you want it to have nice contrast, and you always want to keep in mind your basic principles of design. So I'm going in with some white, and that's just going to add a bit of highlight to the design and make it pop a little bit more. So when you're adding white, it can take over. White is a very powerful color and it stands out a whole lot, especially compared to black. So when you add the white, make sure you don't add too much because you don't want it to overpower your design. So I'm just going in and I'm going inside of the letters and adding some white highlights. When you're adding your highlights, make sure you're putting them next to each other. Make sure your highlights stay consistent. If you need help with that, you can always reference how light works. So just start paying attention as you go throughout your day. Notice how light skips around. Notice how light reflects off of things. And it can start to be really fun. So you can just do it anytime in your spare time. Just become aware of your environment and put those same principles into your artwork. Even though the pictures that we are doing are 2D, you can give them an illusion of a type of 3D effect. So now I'm going in with a low opacity, and I'm really liking the way these curves are looking. So I'm going to double up on some of the designs. Pay attention to where you place your designs at. You don't want too much weight on one side. So always keep in mind balance. You want your design to be very balanced and you want it to have a cohesive look to it. I'm adding those bigger brush strokes underneath the black lines just to give it more contrast. So this brings another bit of dimension to the piece. So now we have our foreground, we have like a mid-level color, and then we have our background. And I'm going into the crown. Again, I want to make this crown something that I've never seen before. I don't want to do your average crown with the circles or the dots. I'm sticking with the design that I have, and I'm just enhancing the simple design that's there. I'm giving the design a cartoon effect, as if light is reflecting and bouncing off of the design. This also gives it personality, fun, and it makes the design pop a little bit more. Whenever you're designing for yourself or for someone else, you want to make sure that you're making your design unique. Don't copy what you've been seeing already. Break the mold and branch out and try something different. Try something that you've never seen before. If you're hesitant on doing that, you can always go to another layer. If you don't like it, you can erase it, or you can also tone down the opacity. Sometimes I will branch out and do more parts of the design on another layer. I find myself doing that a lot with white because, again, it is a powerful color and it can take over. So what I do is I'll do some of the white highlights on a separate layer, and I'll play around with the opacity and lower it if I go too far with the white. So you can't get too carried away with your highlights, and if you do, it can overpower the design. So if you notice here, I only have a small bit of white compared to the black, but it's enough to balance out. So whatever colors you use, make sure that you're balancing your design out. And also you can use different colors or gradients. You don't have to stick to the colors that you see here. So if you want to take your time, experiment, add different colors, add different shapes, and you may also want to place the different lines in different places. So if you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, please give me a big thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.